Hello, dear students. So we will start with yesterday's example. So this example we have discussed. So I hope you were able to find write what is okay. So union EX. I asked you to write this. So what will be the union EX where X element of A? So it means that you are taking union of these intervals. Okay. So it is 0 to 1, 0 to half, 0 to 1 by 4, etc. And hence it is clear that this union will be equal to the open interval 0, 1, which is same as E1. So this is our E1. Now what about intersection? What will be intersection EX? Where X is an element of A. So it means that you have to take intersection of all these sets and we can find that intersection is empty because there will not be a element which will be common to all these sets. So this you can justify like that for y greater than 0 we can say that y is not an element of Ex. Okay. If x is less than y. So if x is less than y, you can say that y will not be an element of Ex. So there is not a fixed point which will be an element of all those Ens. So we can say that y is not an element of this intersection Ex where x element of A. It means that this intersection is empty. Okay, so we can always find an interval. If you take any element, we can always find an interval in which that element is not contained. Okay, so the intersection is empty. Now we will see some properties of union and intersection. So we have some properties of union and intersection. You will be familiar with these properties. So try to prove this also. Okay, we know that A union B is same as B union A. Okay, same as with intersection. That is A intersection B is same as B intersection A. Now second one. So the first one is called the commutative law. Second one is A union B union C. So I'm writing associative law. So it is equal to A union B union C. Try to prove this. Okay. How we can prove A equal to B? So to prove two sets A and B are equal, you have to prove that A subset of B and B subset of A. Okay. So take an element from A and show that it is in B. Like that. In the same way here you have for intersection also. Okay. In the same way you have to write for intersection also. Then third one, we have distributive law, that is A intersection B union C is equal to A intersection B union A intersection C. Okay, this is called the distributive law. Distributive law. So try to prove this all these laws. Okay, distributive law. Now in general we have that if A and B are non-empty sets, A is always a subset of A union B. And we also know that A intersection B is a subset of A as well as it's a subset of B. Also we know that A union 0 element, which will be the empty set, will be same as A. And A intersection, the empty set, will be empty set. Then also we have one more property, that is seventh one, that is if A is a subset of B, then what will be A union B? A union B. So A is a subset of B, so this is A, this is B. Okay, so A is a subset of B, so A union B will be B itself. And what will be A intersection B? A intersection B will be A. Okay, so all these are nice properties which you should remember always, and try to, in particular, try to prove the distributive law. Okay. Next we will move on to theorem 2.12. So it says that if A is collection En is a for n equal to 1, 2, 3 be a sequence of countable sets, and if we put S equal to union A n equal to 1 to infinity, then S is also countable. So it is given that each En is countable. We have to show that their union is also countable. We can also say that countable union of countable sets is countable. So that is the meaning of this. That is countable union of countable set is countable. Countable sets is countable. This we have to prove. Okay, so each En is countable, and we are taking their countable union, that we are denoting it by S. So since each En is countable, so it means that we can arrange the elements of En in the form of a sequence. Okay, so suppose I denote the elements by X and K. For K equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. So the elements of En, it means that E1, the elements of E1 are nothing but X11, X12, X13, etc. Similarly, the elements of E2, are X21, X22, X23, etc. So in this way we can write the elements of En are nothing but Xn1, Xn2, etc. So each En is countable, so we have listed out its elements. Okay, so we can also write the elements like this. So I can also write like this. So if I write in this, suppose I write X11, X12, X13, X14, then so on. Then X21, X22, X23, X24, and so on. Similarly, X31, X32, x32, x33, x34, etc. So I have listed all the elements like this. Now, so the first row represent E1, second row represent E2, and like that. So suppose I mark like this, these two elements, I make a combination like this. Okay. So if I draw lines like this, okay, next here I will have x41. So this will be like this. So you can see that each element will come inside this. Okay, so you consider the rays in which the elements of, so here En will form the nth row. Okay, now the array contains all elements of S. We can say that S is union of En. So if I write an array of elements like this, so in this array the first element is x11, second element is x21, comma x12. Okay, then my third element is x31, x22, x13. Okay, in this way, if I go on writing like this, I can see that all the elements of S are covered here. Now there may be repetition, some elements may be repeated. Okay, there will be some ENs may have common elements, and these elements will occur more than once in the sequence. So I can say that if so some of the elements may be repeated, so I can say that there is a subset T is a subset of set of all positive integers T, okay, such that S is equivalent to T. I'm not sure that it will be equivalent to J, that is set of all integers, because some elements may be repeated, repetition will be there. So T means it is a subset of set of all integers. It can be finite also. Okay, J is set of all integers. So I can say that there is an equivalence from S. S is the union of all these elements from S to T. Okay, so it means that if it can also be finite, so I can say that this implies that S is at most countable. So I can say that S is at most countable. Now what is at most countable? At most countable means it is either finite or countable. Or countable. Now my aim is to show that it is countable. So I will show that this is not finite. Okay, so I will show that this S is not finite. Now I can see that E1 or E2 or any one of this, I can see that E1 is a subset of S and E1 is also infinite. E1 is also infinite. This is a subset of S and it is E1 is also infinite. It means that S cannot be finite because S has an infinite subset. So S cannot be finite. A finite set cannot have an infinite subset. So S cannot be finite. Then the possibility is S is countable. So S must be countable because it is earlier we got that it is at most countable. Then at most countable means either finite or countable. Then we have shown that it is not finite because it has an infinite subset. So if a set has an infinite subset, it cannot be finite. So S cannot be finite. It means that S is countable. So we have shown that the countable union of countable sets is countable. Okay, so it is a very important result. Try to understand the proof very clearly. Okay, it is given that each En is countable. So we have written the elements of, we have listed out the elements of En. Then we have considered a particular arrays. and we see that if we arrange it like this, the every element of S will be included here, but there may be repetitions. So we can say that this S is equivalent to a subset of J, which we denoted by T. So we can, since S is equivalent to a subset of S is equivalent to T, I can say that S is at most countable, because if T is finite, it is it it is finite or countable. So we can say that it is at most countable. Okay. Now next we will show that it is not finite, so it is S is countable. Next, we have a corollary of this theorem. So corollary means it follows from the theorem. Okay. So corollary is, suppose A is at most countable. So here it is given A is at most countable, and for every alpha in A, B alpha is at most countable. So put T equal to union B alpha, then we have to show that T is also at most countable. So here the set A is at most means it can be finite or countable. Now B alpha is also at most countable. It is either finite or countable. Now if it is countable, we have already proved the result. Now if it is finite, we know the countable union of finite sets will be the finite union of finite sets will be again finite only. So T can be either finite or T is at most T is countable. So T is at most countable. So it follows from, we can write that this result follows from theorem 2.12. And also we can say that T is equivalent to a subset of S. So T is at most countable. Okay. So if this corollary is asked, again you can write the theorem 2.12 and its proof, and we can see that it follows directly from the theorem. Okay. So try to write the proof in your notebook.